The year is 2008. You're invited over to your friend Tommy's place for internet and pizza rolls. You're not really sure what that entails, but you drop your Razor scooter off in the lawn and you run up to the front door and sprint into the game room. You see Tommy sitting there with the CRT screen glowing in his face. You hear a weird popping noise and clicking, and you're not really sure what's going on, but when you look up, you see monkeys, you see darts and balloons. This is the internet with Flash, baby, and you're pretty interested. This might become habit forming. Like many of us here on YouTube, Flash games and animations in the early 2000s have transformed and molded the way we experience the internet as children. Whether it was because of its easy accessibility, the growth and popularity of the internet as a whole, by word of mouth, forum boards, or just because it was plain fun to distract yourself in school, Flash games impacted our lives in many ways and transformed a genre of gaming altogether. Without Adobe Flash, I don't know where we'd be with internet entertainment today. And with its disappearance at the end of December, your favorite Flash games and animations might just be a nostalgic memory very soon. In the early 2000s, Flash was widely installed on desktops and was often used to display interactive web pages, online games, and to play video and audio content. In 2005, YouTube was founded, and it used Flash Player as its means to display compressed content on the web. The same year, Flash would be purchased by Macromedia and become part of the Adobe Creative Suite. In the blink of an eye, Flash, which had primarily been an animation and authoring tool, became an integral part for enabling multimedia content across the web. In 2007, with the advent of the iPhone, Flash was nowhere to be seen though, and YouTube had decided to offer up access to its videos in a format optimized for mobile phones as to appease the Apple and iPhone users with the YouTube app. This is accredited as the moment where Flash started to lose ground in the mobile space and would mark the downfall for the app in the coming years. With a new codecs and a better multimedia tool such as HTML5, we saw the downfall of Flash, but not the death yet. I believe what Flash is most known for though is the games and animations that were created in the early 2000s, with websites such as Newgrounds, Miniclips, and Armor Games that are dedicated to hosting Flash-based games. We would see an explosion of video games onto the scene, including big names such as Angry Birds, Clash of Clans, and Farmville, but also including some of my personal favorites, such as Age of War, This Is the Only Level, Fancy Pants Adventures, just all of them, and of course, The World's Hardest Game, which I've still yet to beat to this day. We would see a cult following behind a lot of the Flash games, mainly in the younger generation. But those kids who were influenced by this content would grow into game developers, artists, and creatives around the world. Personally, a lot of the narrative storytelling and direction that these games and animations had within them would inspire me to become a graphic designer, thinking I would one day work in video games. And if my YouTube dream kicks off, it kind of worked out in a sense. But across all of these platforms, we would see unlimited creativity and inspiration turn into something more than just a cheesy little animation or crappy little Flash game. Some of these games and animations would leave their original hosting sites and become greater projects that would expand into full-fledged animation and TV shows and entire video game franchises. While some would even give developers their start in the game industry, even if it wasn't based off of their original IP. This was such a strange phenomenon in the early 2000s because it had always seemed that gaming and the gaming industry would be an elite few that would dominate the mainstream, until you have these small developers in teams of max of 3 to 5, working on passion projects that would be embraced by a community that was starving for original content instead of shovelware made by big industries. We saw some of the greatest content of our time in video gaming come out during these periods. Through Newgrounds' own Tom Fulp and artist Dan Paladin, they would create a Flash game together called Alien Hominid, a side-scrolling shooter starring a cute alien who blasted wave after wave of secret government agents. Alien Hominid was so huge and had such a massive impact on gaming that they were able to found their own company, the Behemoth. The Behemoth would go to release hit after hit with Castle Crashers, Battle Block Theater, Pit People, and recently a new title called Alien Hominid Invasion, a reimagining of the first game Behemoth ever released, Alien Hominid. And while the Behemoth is an amazing game company that is full of creative people with great ideas, their early success has to be accredited to the fame of Newgrounds and Adobe Flash. Such is the same for the creative game designer Edmund McMillan. creator of Super Meat Boy, The Binding of Isaac, The Basement Collection, and many other creative ventures, even including board and card games. Finding his footing on Newgrounds with his unique, gory style, appealing to massive audiences, Edmund and Team Meat would go on to create a console version of Meat Boy for PS3 and Xbox 360. They would even go on to bring the game to pretty much every console, even the Wii U. Holy shit, the Wii U got a version of this game. The Wii U got no games. They even have a sequel slated to release December 23rd, right while I'm recording this video, which is great because I want to play it, but I'm also trying to be productive. While Flash games might not have been the pinnacle of gaming, they were easily accessible, insanely addictive, and would lay the groundwork for fundamental indie games that would follow for their breakout successes. Besides video games, the community of artists on Newgrounds would yield some lofty names as well. While they have found new homes mostly due to the size of the platform and the lack of monetization, these creators included OneyNG, Egoraptor, Becker, Jazza, and many more. They all have spun successful careers on YouTube, whether through their own animations, gaming channels, or a wide variety of content. While these creators built their fanbase on Newgrounds' platform, it was never destined to hold the fanbase and the retention with all the problems that would plague Flash and its surrounding controversies of security. But through to the end, the Flash community has stayed loyal and has supported one another greater than most communities would with the impending doom in their path. Tumblr is a great example of a community jumping ship once they realized their content was at risk. And where did some of that not safe for work community go? Newgrounds. There were many others that even started their lewd careers with Newgrounds, such as Shadman, one of the most prolific lewd artists. And with open arms, Newgrounds accepted them into their ranks, and the smut was once again brought into the internet from the cold corporate grips of Tumblr and Yahoo. Now, onto remembering these games, and how we're trying to preserve and save them for our own nostalgia, and for future generations to experience them as well. Many, if not all websites have taken preemptive measures to still support the games post-mortem of Flash's existence. The thing that interests me in this whole debate is how this has not happened sooner. Flash has been out of date and a risk online for years. With HTML5 becoming much more prevalent and safer than Adobe Flash, the downfall of it is no surprise. Sadly, this bump in security does come with some loss. A majority of creators have taken it upon themselves to convert their games to a supported media type, but those who are no longer active or have since forgotten about their own projects, they may be lost to time. But don't worry, Neopets, that has run on Flash from the very beginning, will be converting from Flash to HTML in 2020, so the poor creatures that you've had sitting in that old account for many years will continue to waste away. There have been multiple avenues people have been taking to preserve Flash, whether it was Newgrounds creating its own player for Flash games to run on, or the more ambitious projects to save Flash. While the creation of new Flash content is definitely out of the question, the ability to run old SWF files has been a major digital preservation concern. In 2016, Mike Welsh would begin a pet project named Fluster. Later renamed Ruffle, this project would morph into a Flash player emulator written in Rust, with a desktop and web client. Following Flash's discontinuation announcement and lessened browser support of the Flash player, Ruffle has received much attention as a possible alternative to the Flash player. Over the coming years though, Flash would continue to decline in popularity. In 2017, Adobe would go on announcing their plans to retire Flash completely by 2020. And to think I had 3 years to do this video and I'm doing it the week before. There are many other projects as well that aim to save all that they can from these websites. This mission, however, remains an uphill struggle. Newgrounds' catalog of over 80,000 plus Flash games is but the tip of the iceberg. But even many of these games are not yet perfectly compatible with Newgrounds' player, and it will take much effort on the part of the community to test them, identify existing issues, and work out ways to fix them. The other large project, Bluemaxima, has more ambitious efforts at preserving games from various sources, and it is even more challenging since these sources are disappearing from the web due to servers closing, domain names expiring, and entertainment portals reorienting towards other type of content. An equally big challenge has to do with the current copyright laws, which place many of the ongoing preservation efforts in a legal gray zone due to some of the game's rights owners being completely gone from the scene and nearly impossible to track down. as well as due to many hobbyist games using copyrighted materials, such as copywritten music, and containing textual and visual references to popular mainstream games. If you're looking to do your part in the preservation of Flash, or just learn more about what's happening to your favorite games, please visit the links I have down in the description, even though YouTube seems to be trying to kill off the description right now anyways, but it's fine. They're still down there. Flash was our childhood. Flash was something that was easily accessible to all of us. If you couldn't afford a game console, your parents probably had a computer that you could download Flash on and get these games into your hands. So it's very sad to see them disappearing this way. But with these preservation projects, we can hopefully live to play them another day. While the struggles of Flash and all of the history that it brings and what it means to all of the people in its community are scary, it's not something you should fear. This community has struggled and triumphed before, and while there may be some of Flash's history that is lost into the ethos, we will always hold those memories of Blue and Tower Defense running on your friend's family room computer deep in our heart. This is a final send-off to Adobe Flash, but not a goodbye to the legacy it built in the early internet age. Thank you for watching. Closed loop. I really appreciate the feedback I got on my last episode, and if you haven't checked that out, the card is right at the end here to watch that video. I am pouring my heart into this because I really love YouTube and I love the history of the internet, and I hope you guys are finding it interesting too and are willing to come along this journey with me. Thank you for watching again, and hit that like button and smash that subscribe button because I'm making more content. Thank you guys. I appreciate you so much.